A U.S. Coast Guard patrol aircraft spots a dark shadow moving slowly beneath the Pacific surface. Not a whale. Not debris. Something deliberate. Something hidden. Within minutes, 2 fast boats and a helicopter scramble to the location. The men inside the submarine have no idea they have been spotted from above. Officers pull alongside, board the vessel, and force open the hatch. Inside, smugglers who believed they were invisible. They were completely wrong. The submarine is carrying 3,000 kilograms of cocaine. Street value over $100 million. Heading from South America straight to the United States. This was one of around 200 narco-submarines captured between 2006 and 2025. But every year, thousands more make their deliveries without ever being found. How do narco-submarines work? Why are they almost impossible to detect? Where are they built? And who builds them? The answer is more extraordinary than you think. Nearly 80% of all drugs smuggled into the United States travel by sea. The Pacific and Caribbean are the world's largest drug highway. And nobody owns the ocean. This is the story of the most sophisticated drug smuggling operation in human history. Built in jungles, sailed by crews who call their vessel a coffin. In the 1980s, Pablo Escobar moved cocaine by small private aircraft, flying low, fast, under radar, to secret airstrips across the Caribbean and Florida. As radar technology improved, authorities began intercepting drug flights. The cartels lost aircraft worth millions. They needed a completely different method immediately. The cartels switched to high-speed go-fast boats, capable of outrunning most Coast Guard vessels, skipping across the surface with massive cocaine loads. Aerial surveillance improved. Heat signatures. Radar returns. Night vision. The high-speed boats that once seemed uncatchable became increasingly visible from above. By the 1990s, the cartels had one logical answer. Stop traveling on the surface entirely. Go where radar cannot reach. Go underwater. In 2006, the U.S. Coast Guard seized the first known narco-submarine southwest of Costa Rica. They had nicknamed it Bigfoot because they heard rumors but never believed it was real. The first captured vessel was 50 feet long, built of wood and fiberglass by hand in the Colombian jungle. Primitive. Effective. Almost completely undetectable by any existing system. By the time the first submarine was captured in 2006, authorities estimated between 25 and 40 semi-submersibles had already departed South America in the previous year alone. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was among the first cartel leaders to commission narco-submarines. He hired actual naval architects to design vessels buildable under jungle canopy. Between 2006 and 2025, approximately 200 narco-submarines were captured. Experts estimate that represents only 25% of all vessels that departed. Rest arrived undetected. The most common type is the low-profile vessel. It travels mostly submerged with only a tiny portion above the waterline, nearly invisible from air or sea. A single low-profile vessel can carry up to 7.7 tons of cocaine per journey. At wholesale prices, that is over $200 million of cargo in one hull. The second type is the transatlantic semi-submersible. Larger, more advanced, multiple internal compartments, capable of crossing entire oceans to reach Europe. In 2019, one semi-submersible was built near Manaus, Brazil, traveled 1,200 kilometers down the Amazon River, then crossed the Atlantic Ocean to reach Spain. The third type is the snorkel submarine, fully submersible. It travels completely below the surface using a snorkel tube for engine air. Radar cannot find what it cannot see. The most advanced type has no crew at all. Battery-powered, silent, remotely guided, no engine noise, no exhaust, no heat signature. Essentially undetectable. Crewed submarines include a small sleeping area, basic food supplies, a toilet, navigation instruments, and enough diesel fuel for weeks at sea. Nothing more. The crews who operate these vessels refer to them among themselves as coffins. In 2023, Colombian authorities found one drifting with 2 dead crew members, killed by diesel fumes. Most narco-submarines are built for a single one-way journey. After delivering the cargo, they are intentionally sunk at sea to destroy all evidence of their existence. Before 2008, if the vessel sank, there was almost no way to prosecute the crew. U.S. law has since changed, but the habit of sinking persists because it still causes legal complications. Colombia's Pacific coastline is thick with jungle, rivers and waterways, providing near-perfect cover for the construction and launch of narco-submarines at industrial scale. Submarines are built in clandestine shipyards so deep in the jungle that even satellite imagery and drone surveillance struggle to detect them beneath the forest canopy. Shipyard camps include sleeping quarters for the workforce. Workers live on site for months at a time, completely isolated, building a vessel they will likely never see again. A Colombian Navy commander described the extraordinary logistical effort. Propulsion gear, generators, steel plates, fiberglass, all transported by boat and foot deep into inaccessible jungle terrain. Some submarines are built in separate pieces in different locations, then transported and assembled at a final jungle site under the forest canopy, making pre-construction detection nearly impossible. Building a narco-submarine costs between $1 and $2 million. The cocaine cargo it carries has a street value of up to $400 million. The economics are simple. In 2022, Colombian authorities arrested Oscar Moreno Ricardo, known as the king of narco-submarines, responsible for building dozens of vessels for major criminal organizations. Despite Ricardo's arrest, experts warned that his knowledge had already been passed on. The workers, engineers, and architects who built for him know exactly what to do. In 2024, Colombian police seized a submarine under construction in Bogotá. Russian documents were found alongside it, raising questions about international criminal involvement in narco-submarine construction. In 2024, a narco-submarine was seized over 3,000 miles from Colombia heading toward Australia and New Zealand. Proof that cartels are now targeting entirely new markets across the Pacific. The U.S. Coast Guard patrols millions of square kilometers of Pacific and Caribbean Ocean. Finding a semi-submerged vessel in that space is like finding a needle in an ocean. Most detections come from patrol aircraft flying low and slow over ocean routes. Pilots trained to spot the barely visible outline of a semi-submersible from altitude. The U.S. Navy deploys P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft specifically to hunt narco-submarines. Equipped with radar, sonar buoys, and infrared sensors covering vast ocean areas. In 2024, the Coast Guard deployed unmanned aerial vehicles alongside cutters during drug interdiction patrols, extending surveillance range without risking crew in patrol aircraft. When a contact is confirmed, fast boats launch from the cutter at full speed. The helicopter provides air cover and guidance. Officers have minutes to close the distance. Boarding a narco-submarine at sea is one of the most dangerous operations in Coast Guard service. The vessel is slippery, low profile, and the crew may resist or attempt to scuttle. In 2025, a Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard officer drowned when traffickers removed the hull plug after boarding, deliberately flooding the vessel with officers still inside. In May 2024, the Coast Guard cutter Munro offloaded nearly 17 tons of cocaine worth $468 million, seized during a single month-long interdiction patrol in the Eastern Pacific. In 2024, a 62-country joint operation led to the Colombian Navy capturing a semi-submersible 1,200 miles southwest of Clipperton Island carrying 5 tons of cocaine. In 2024, authorities made 25 successful narco-submarine interdictions, a near-record year. Experts believe that still represents only 25% of all vessels that departed. In 2024, narco-submarines were found abandoned in the Solomon Islands and Tonga. In January 2026, one was captured in Fiji carrying 2 tons of cocaine, with 6 people arrested. The U.S. Coast Guard estimates that despite all resources and all operations, only 25% of narco-submarines are ever intercepted. 3 out of every 4 make it through. Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia, the cocaine triangle, continue to produce record quantities of cocaine. As long as supply exists and demand exists, the submarines will keep coming. 80% of all illegal drugs entering the United States travel by maritime routes. The ocean is not a barrier, it is the primary highway for the drug trade. Every time authorities develop a new detection method, the cartels develop a response. Quieter engines, deeper travel, electric propulsion, unmanned guidance. Race never stops. Every narco-submarine ever built was built because of demand. American cocaine consumption drives this entire industry, from the coca field to the jungle shipyard, to the ocean floor. The men who crew these vessels know the risks. They know their vessel may be sunk. They know the diesel may kill them. They board anyway. Poverty makes the choice for them. The arrest of the king of narco-submarines made headlines. Within months, new submarines built by his former workers were already under construction in new jungle locations. Right now, as you watch this, narco-submarines are moving through the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Invisible, carrying billions of dollars of cocaine, heading to shore. Despite record seizures in 2024, cocaine availability in the United States did not decrease. More was seized. More got through. The supply is simply that large. The unmanned electric submarine represents the current frontier. Silent. Crewless. Guided remotely. The next generation will be harder to find than anything authorities have faced before. The Pacific Ocean covers 165 million square kilometers. The submarine is 20 meters long. The ocean is winning. And the shadow beneath the surface is still moving.